in this international festival UNMESH, Literature Festival UNMESH. And the topic for this session is discussion on epics of India, Bharat ke Mahakavya. And for this I would like to call upon Shri Hare Krishna Satyapati Satpati Hare Krishna Satpati to please join us over the stage. आप अध्यक्षता करेंगे कार्यक्रम की और आज के जो वक्ता हैं उनमें हैं जे श्रीनिवास मूर्ति, मौली कौशल, नरेंद्र बी पाठक, रानी सदाशिव मूर्ति। आप सभी से अनुरोध है कृपया मंच पर अपना स्थान ग्रहण करें। और अब समय है आप सभी के फॉर्मल वेलकम का, जिसके लिए मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ श्री रघुनाथ चौधरी, फेलो साहित्य अकेडमी, कि वे आएं और आप सबका उत्तरीय द्वारा सम्मान करें। रघुवीर चौधरी जी, कृपया माफ कीजिएगा। कल से मुझे दिमाग में वही था, आपने बोला भी तो भी मैंने लिखा वही है। इधर सामने से खींच लेना इस साइड से। धन्यवाद रघुवीर चौधरी जी। कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए अब इसकी समीक्षा के ऊपर एक बात, इंट्रोडक्शन। भारत के महाकाव्य आज भी लोकप्रिय चेतना में उपस्थित हैं और वे भारत के प्रायः सभी क्षेत्रों, भाषाओं एवं समुदायों में विद्यमान हैं तथा उन्होंने बहुत सी कहानियों, नायकों को ऊंचाई दी है और 3000 वर्षों से प्रेरणा स्रोत रहे हैं। इस दृष्टि से भारत के महाकाव्य बहुत ही अनूठे हैं तथा दुनिया में बहुत कम ऐसे महाकाव्य हैं जो निरंतर 3000 वर्षों से जनजीवन एवं लोकप्रिय चेतना का हिस्सा रहे हैं। चाहे लिखित हो अथवा वाचिक, ये महाकाव्य संपूर्ण जगत की साहित्यिक धरोहर हैं। भारत के 2 महाकाव्य 3000 वर्षों से भी अधिक समय से भारत में प्रत्येक के दैनंदिन जीवन का हिस्सा बन गए हैं और इन्होंने इस उपमहाद्वीप के विभिन्न समुदायों को उनकी भाषाओं में अपने महाकाव्यों की सृजना के लिए प्रेरित किया है। इस सत्र में प्रख्यात विद्वान इस महाकाव्य के विभिन्न आयामों तथा भारत की संस्कृति पर उनके प्रभाव की चर्चा करेंगे। Epics of India continue to live till date in the popular consciousness and they have percolated down to almost every religion, language and community of India. They have been given rise to many more tales, heroes and inspirations through 3000 years. Epics of India are very unique in this respect and there are not many epics around the world that continue to be a part of people's lives and popular consciousness over 3000 years. Whether written or oral, these epics are literary treasures of the entire world. 2 great epics of India over the period of 3 millennia have become part and parcel of everyday life in India and also inspired communities across the subcontinent to come up with their own epics in various languages. In this session, eminent scholars will be presenting different perspectives on the epics and their influence on culture of India. I would like to introduce the session chair, Shri Hare Krishna Satyapathy. आप एक प्रख्यात शिक्षाविद, विद्वान और प्राचीन भारतीय साहित्य, प्राचीन भारतीय नैतिकता और न्यायिक शास्त्र के विशेषज्ञ हैं। संप्रति आप स्कूल ऑफ स्पिरिचुअलिज्म एंड योगिक साइंसेज KIT विश्वविद्यालय भुवनेश्वर ओडिशा KIIT विश्वविद्यालय भुवनेश्वर ओडिशा के अध्यक्ष हैं। आपने 35 से अधिक पुस्तकों का लेखन एवं संपादन किया है। आपके 100 से अधिक शोध पत्र एवं लेख विभिन्न पत्रिकाओं और जर्नल में प्रकाशित हैं। आप रामकृष्ण जयदयाल डालमिया श्रीवाणी आलम करम पुरस्कार, ओडिशा साहित्य अकादमी पुरस्कार, कवि कुलगुरु कालिदास सम्मान, साहित्य अकादमी पुरस्कार और भारत के राष्ट्रपति द्वारा ब्रह्मश्री की उपाधि से सम्मानित हैं। आपका बहुत स्वागत है सर। और अब ये सेशन आपके हवाले है, फिर जैसे ही आप बुलाएंगे मैं आकर इंट्रोडक्शन रीड करूँ। जी एक स्पेक्स यहाँ पे मिले हैं, जिस किसी के भी होंगे वो ले सकते हैं, अगर कोई आपसे भी पूछे तो इस सेशन में रखें।
सर्वेभ्यः नमो नमः। इस मंच पर विराजमान और इस सभागार में विद्यमान सभी विद्वज्जन, आपको मैं बहुत बहुत सादर प्रणाम करता हूँ। Friends, at the outset, I would to express my profound sense of gratitude to the authorities of Sahitya Academy and Ministry of Culture for organizing such a grand festival of literature and giving us an opportunity to be associated with this. This festival was started last year, and within 1 year it has become the largest literary festival of Asia, and we are confident if this trend continues, then within a short span of period, this festival will be the largest and biggest festival of the world. Not because of the number of participants increasing year by year, but because of the quality of discussions. The world-class standard of the deliberations that is going on during all the sessions of this unique festival. And all of you know that the topic for today's discussion is Bharat ke Mahakavya, Epics of India, about which some introductory remarks have already been given by the respected moderator of this session. Friends, in our tradition, a long tradition of poets and literature is ranging over more than 5,000 years. We have come across with a lot of literature, a good number of poets, but our tradition places 3 poets among all these literary artists in the first rank, because they fulfill all the parameters of a poet par excellence. The definition of a true poet has been given in different treatises by our poeticians, in Vedas, in Upanishads. The Veda says that he is a poet, Kabir, Manishi, Paribhu, Swayambhu. These 3 criteria. Manishi means a person who has got Manisha, and Manisha has been defined as that unique and extraordinary talent, Pratibha, Navanamudmesha Salini Prajna. And at the same time, Nan Rusi Kabir Ityahu, Rusistu Kriya Darshanat, जो बिंदु में सिंधु का दर्शन कर सकता है और सिंधु में भी बिंदु का दर्शन कर सकता है, इसे को हम मनीषी कहते हैं. This is the first criteria to become a poet par excellence. And the second criteria is Paribhu. He is Sarvavyapta, omnipresent. His presence can be felt everywhere through his immortal works. And the third and very important criteria to be underlined, say that is Swayambhu, a real poet of India, Bharat, is Swayambhu. He is not, he is Ajoni Sambhuta. So if you apply all these criteria, the parameters, then in our tradition there are only 3 first ranking poets. I do not say that all others are not poets. They are poets. But these 3 are Ekobhut Nalinath, Swayambhu, Ajoni Sambhuta. One was born from the Nabhi Kamal of Bhagavan Vishnu, Brahma. Ekobhut Nalinath Tatascha Pulinath. The second one is Kabir, Manishi, Paribhu, Swayambhu, Ajoni Sambhuta. Mark, Swayambhu. We are not Swayambhus. And the other one, the second one, Ekobhut Nalinath Tatascha Pulinath, appear from a pond, a Sarovara. He is, the first one is Lord Brahma. Jasya Niswasitam Vedaha, who is the creator of the first Mahakavya of the entire world. I always treat the Veda as the Sarva Pratham Mahakavya Vishwa ke. और मैं कहूंगा ये सिर्फ महाकाव्य नहीं है, जो तीनों महाकाव्य के बारे में अभी मैं बताऊंगा मेरा इंट्रोडक्टरी एड्रेस में. ये हमारे मानव जाति के लिए 3 संविधान है. ये मानव जाति का दी फर्स्ट 3 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस ऑफ द मैनकाइंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. अभी तो हमारे पास एक संविधान है, मैं तो कहूंगा ये हमारा परवर्ती संविधान है. ये तीनों संविधान में द ड्यूटीज, the responsibilities, the rights, judiciary, executive, legislations, all the things, the good administration, the nomenclature of a welfare state, everything has been defined in a very systematic manner. These are the 3 constitutions. The second one, who appeared from Vishnu का नाभि कमल से जिनका जन्म हुआ, ये भगवान व्यास. नमोस्तुते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल्लार बिंदा यतपत्र नेत्र जेन त्वया भारत तैल पूर्ण प्रज्वालित ज्ञानमय प्रदीप. हियर भारत रेफर्स टू महाभारत. महाभारत जदिहास्ति न तदन्यत्र, जन्नेहास्ति न तत्क्वचित. ऐसा ही है, ये है महाभारत. ज्ञानपूर्ण एक ग्रंथ है. ये है हमारा दूसरा संविधान, जिसमें सब कुछ है मानव जाति का कल्याण के लिए. और तीसरा है एकोभूत नलिनाथ ततश्च पुलिनाथ बल्मीकतश्चा परह. द थर्ड वन, not in the rank, not in the order of third, 3, but the third one, he was born out of a mount of this white horns after having performed penance from thousands and thousands of years. He is none other than Valmiki. Bande Valmiki Kokilam. Aruhiya Kavita Sakham Bande Valmiki Kokilam. Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhurakharam. Madhumaya Bhaniti Nam Margadarshi Maharshi Valmiki. Vyasa. इन तीनों ते सर्वे कवयः त्रिलोक गुरवः तेसाम नमस्कुर्मये. These are the 3 real poets of India, and I offer my salutations at the commencement of the session to the lotus feet of Lord Brahma, the first poet, and Vyasa, and then Valmiki. And the Vyasa's creation is Mahabharata. Valmiki's creation is Ramayana, and all of you know the subject matter of these 2 epics of our country. Yes, Adau Rama Tapovanaabhigamanam Dhartva Mrugam Kanchanam in one single sloka. The entire subject matter of Ramayana has been depicted. But friends, is it the purpose for which Ramayana was written? In one single sloka, the entire Adau Dhartra Rashtra Ityadi Jananam, in one single sloka, the subject matter of Mahabharata has been narrated. Is it the purpose just to tell a story to the mankind, or something is behind this story? Yes, Ramadivat pravartatavyam, na Ravanadivat. Yes, Ramadivat pravartitavyam. If you want to, yes, to be an ideal son, follow Ramachandra. To be an ideal husband, follow Ramachandra. To be a good governor, administrator, follow Sri Ramachandra. Want to become a good, an ideal brother, follow Ramachandra and Bharat. रामाधिपत प्रवर्तत्यपम, राम का जो सोच है, जो शासन करने के लिए जो तरीकाएं हैं, you have to follow. And regarding Mahabharata, is from each point of view, from social, cultural, geographical, historical, and psychological, and educational points of view. Mahabharata or Ramayana is second to none under the sun. On the surface of the earth, we are very fortunate that we have been blessed with two epics. Those we don't find any parallels of these two epics in the entire world. And those two epics have been influencing the trend, the poets, the literature since last 3,000 years. And they have also been able to influence the culture, the nature, the nomenclature, and the structure of our country. Because it is, these two epics are very, very significant from geographical point of view, from historical point of view. So friends, now we are very fortunate to have four distinguished scholars coming from different parts of the country. And Professor Sadhasiva Murthy, now he is the Vice Chancellor of a university, a great Sanskrit scholar, and he has got authority on two epics of India, Ramayana and Mahabharata. And Srinivas Murthy, a professor of Sanskrit, a good scholar and an unparalleled scholar. He is also a great researcher on the epics. And हमारे पाठक जी यहाँ मौजूद है, वो एक बहुत बड़े विद्वान साहित्यिक है और कवि भी है और महाकाव्य की रचयिता भी है. पाठक जी भी मौजूद है और मैडम कौशल भी आज उपस्थित है. आप सब now will leave the stage to the distinguished scholars, those who have come to project the significant features of these two epics before this learned audience. With these words, once again, मैं आप सभी को बहुत 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 बधाई दे रहा हूं और आपका वंदन और अभिनंदन और अभिवादन करता हूं. और फिर भी अभी मॉडरेटर को मैं बताऊंगा कि ये सभा को आगे चलाएंगे, आगे ले लेंगे. थैंक यू, धन्यवाद.
Thank you so much, Satpathy ji. Our next speaker is J. Srinivasa Murthy, who taught Sanskrit for 4 decades. His scholarly pursuits include Indian philosophy, language and translation studies, poetics, dramaturgy, Buddhism, and Tantra. He is active in Kannada theatre for the past 5 decades as actor, stage worker, concept designer, and producer. His writings are mainly in Kannada. His published works include Natya Shastra, works of Saint Poet Kanak Das from Kannada to Sanskrit. He has also translated Manjim Nikay from Pali to Kannada. He is a recipient of Karnataka Natak Academy Award. I humbly invite you, sir, for your address.
Thank you. Bhavabhuti says, idam kavibhyah purvebhyah namo vakam prashasmahe vande mahichatam vanim amrutam atmanah kalam So I salute all the poets who are there before me. And that speech, the goddess of speech, which is undying, Amritam, and Atmanaha Kalam, it is a part of one's own self. So literature is a part of ourselves. There are two ways of looking at it. One is to find the commonalities, what runs through that, as also the diversity there. Mr. Chairperson, Satpati ji, and all the distinguished scholars here and in front of me, I beg your indulgence, and I, at the outset, thank the Sahitya Academy for arranging all this and also for inviting me. And at the outset, I think we have to make a difference in this Epics of India, the title in English, and Bharat ke Mahakavya in Hindi. Is it that Mahakavya and epics are one and the same? Is a question. Because the concept of epics, as I know, what little I know, from the West, has a different connotation compared to the word Mahakavya in Sanskrit, and together what we mean today. So in that, the Indian tradition of the Mahakavyas, it has been talked about by the poeticians, starting from Bhamaha and Dandi to Vishwanatha and later on. That is on one side. And on the other, we have the newly learned, new English speaking people, when they visited the poetry of this country, what they have felt. And then there are poets like Aurobindo who have both composed epics and has also spoken about the epics. And in all this, I think we have made a very unconscious attempt at imitating the West. That has happened in case of many of our history of Sanskrit literature books, wherein we say, it all started from Ramayana Mahabharata and ended up with the very scholastic poets like Bhatti and others, which is a very wrong notion. And in fact, I think I halfway agree with what the President has said, that it is Ramayana and Mahabharata which has come down all these years and they alone are the epics. Yes, sir, certainly they are great epics, and I do bow down to Valmiki and Vyasa, but that is not the entire truth. I think we have at least 5 different streams of epics in this country. And it has been there for these 3,000 years. Some of them we are discovering only now. I don't mean any schism that of North and South, of Sanskrit and Prakrit, or Sanskrit and other languages. It's not a question of schism, but it's a question of understanding the diversity as well. So there are 5 streams, but sometimes they go parallel to each other, sometimes they converge, sometimes they diverge, sometimes they are in confluence, you can't make out which is which. And those 5 streams, excuse me, sir, how much time can I take? About 10 minutes more?
12 minutes.
Okay, 12 minutes more, right. So, one is the stream which is marked as the major stream of Vyasa and Valmiki. But you should know that there is a structural difference between the Valmiki's Ramayana and Vyasa's Mahabharata. And we should know that originally both of them belonged to the oral tradition. And that takes us to the fact, for thousands of years, there has also been the oral traditional poetry and Mahakavya, which has always been a performing art as well. To that I'll come a little later. So we have these two traditions almost originating in the same way, being oral and then being written. We have so many tribal and folk Mahakavyas, folk epics, which are getting systematized only now, in the past 100 years and especially in the past 25, 30 years. But this apart, even when we look at this Sanskrit tradition itself has three different streams. Of them, one is not only Ramayana and Mahabharata, but also the Puranas. And these Puranas themselves, many a times, have collected the material from the local areas and put them into Sanskrit, and that has given rise to the Mahakavyas later on. The best example for that is from Kalidasa himself, who wrote the Kumarasambhavam. So apart from this Brahmana tradition, by Brahmana tradition I don't mean mere caste. Right from the time of Buddha, they spoke of Brahmana and Samana. So parallel to the Brahmana tradition that has come from the Ramayana, Mahabharata and the Puranas, there are the Samana traditions. At least two major Samana traditions have influenced this country, and one is that of the Buddhists and the other one is that of the Jains. And we have the Buddhist Ashwaghosha writing Saundarananda and Buddha Charita, representing this tradition. And later on, from about 2nd century itself, we have a long tradition of Jaina Kavis. Again, they do mix up this Purana and the Kavya. They write epics. And that apart, we have in the south the Tamil tradition, wherein there is the two great epics, Silapadikaram and Manimekhalai, which of course did not belong to this tradition. But in Silapadikaram and Manimekhalai, we already have traces wherein Kannagi is actually nursed by a Jaina monk, Manimekhalai becomes a Buddhist monk, and when Kannagi goes near the Madurai, she is entertained by a group of cowherds there who sing and dance the story of Krishna. So by then, these things have percolated all over. But those stories of Krishna, not the ones in the Mahabharata, but what we find in the Bhagavata. So the Vaishnava Puranas and the Shaiva Puranas, and the Shaiva Puranas, starting from the time of Kalidasa up to the time of Nilakantha Dikshita, they have again combined many things. And therefore these different streams, they also converge. And this is known to our poeticians. And therefore when it is said, what is a Mahakavya? Mahatamcha mahachayat. That's what Bhamaha says. It is about the great and it is great. Mahatam cha, it is about the great. And how do you take that? Right from the time of Dandi it was said, Itihasa katodbhutam itaradva sadashrayam. Itihasa kathodbhutam. It can originate from the Itihasa, from Ramayana and Mahabharata. That's what they mean by Itihasa. Itaradva sadashrayam. Or it can be other origins wherein it is sadashraya. It could be a good thing. And in this itaradva sadashrayam, other sadashraya, there are not only these four traditions, the Brahmana tradition, the Samana tradition, the folklore, and the Tamil tradition, there are also the historical works that are being written, which were also called charitas, like Navasahasanka Charita, or the famous Rajatarangini of Kalhana. And one very important thing I note here is when we speak about the origin and the evolution and so on, all that is a bunkam. I'm sorry to use that word, because there is no linear development of all this. When I had to teach the history of Sanskrit literature in the classroom, I was actually feeling very awkward to use all this, that it started with the simple and elegant works of Kalidasa and then ended up with the sophisticated and Vyakyagamya Kavya of Bhatti and so on. So this is what we teach. No, but by the same time there are parallel lines. So there are quite a few number of works I have just noted. See, the Jaina tradition, of course, a little earlier to Kalidasa, or maybe later to Kalidasa, there was Buddha Charita. He knew about the Ramayana, but it is a new attempt. And then there is the work of Saundarananda. And you know, this Samana tradition of the Jainas, it starts, the writing in Sanskrit itself starts from the 2nd century by Samantabhadra. But then you have a Mahakavya called Varanga Charita of Jatila or Simhanandi. And then by about 8th century, we have Jinasenacharya's Adi Purana, Purva Purana, and his student Gunanandi completing it with his Uttara Purana. This Purva Purana and Uttara Purana, it narrates the story of the Tirthankaras and all the Trishashti Shalaka Purushas, and while doing that, they have got the poetic spirit from Kalidasa and many others. And this also has modified certain things. So the Puranas again now become classical poetry. So when we say epics, are Puranas to be taken as epics or not? Should it be only in the verses? Not only this Jinasenacharya and his student, but a large number of them. I have made a list of about 15 epics, Mahakavyas. I don't have time, I suppose you believe me. And I go to the next point, that this has influenced the later poets in the regional languages as well. So it's not only in Sanskrita, there was classical poetry in languages like my own language, Kannada, wherein Pampa, the first known poet, he takes from Jinasenacharya, but he writes a Champu Kavya, and by his time, Champu becomes the form of a Mahakavya. And Pampa writes two Mahakavyas. One is the Adi Purana about Vrishabhanatha Tirthankara, and the other one is on Mahabharata. But in both, he has presented an ornate style, and by then there is a change in poetics. Of course, it earlier said, Alankritam asankshiptam rasabhava nirantaram. It should be alankrita, it should have an ornate style, and asankshiptam, it should not be a short one, elaborate. How elaborate? Like Ramayana and Mahabharata are very elaborate. Thousands and a lakh of verses can be found in the Purva Purana and Uttara Purana together. But at the same time, it should be rasa bhava nirantaram. It should have that rasa and the bhava. And what should be that rasa? The other day, our friend Shiv Prakash was saying, in the south there is the poetics of Tinai, and it also speaks of love and heroism or war as the main motives, which was there in Mahakavya here also. Shrangara Veera eko angirasa ishyati. Either Shrangara or Veera should be the angirasa. But the kavya from the tradition of the Samanas was responsible for introducing Shanta as a rasa. And right from the time of Ashwaghosha, he said, Ityesha vyapashantayena rataye mokshartha garbhakritihi. And they also introduced moksha as the value of the poetry, the fourth value. And therefore, to say that it is just a continuation would be half-truth. And as I said, even this Ramayana and Mahabharata that were written by people like Pampa and then his successor Ranna, he also writes Ajitanatha Purana on one side and the Gada Yuddha on the other side. And in all that, they say, and they know what Vyasa is saying, but they also know that this Samana Parampara has changed the Ramayana and the Mahabharata with their concepts of Vasudeva, Prativasudeva and so on. And therefore he says, I don't mean to say I swim through this ocean of Vyasa. Vyasa Kavindra Rundra Varidhiyani Suven Kavi Vyasa Nemba Garva Menagilla. But at the same time, that is such a vast one. I need to adopt to that. And therefore, Kathe Piridadodam, Katheya Maigedali Yadante Mum Samasta Bharatamam Peldavarilla. Nobody can re-narrate this entire story of Mahabharata without changing that. But I do that. But while doing that, he also introduces the historical elements into that. He is speaking both of his patron and of Arjuna. So all these things converge. And this has continued till the English education changed us. And after that, we have also understood, digested the Western epics. And when a person like Kuvempu writes in 20th century, he says, Bhasange, Kalidasange, Shakespeare, Dante, Virgil, to all these people I pray, I salute. And so this epic is one of both divergence and convergence. It has changed. And therefore we need new Mahakavya Lakshanas, and we need write newer definitions. And you know, just one element is Kalidasa wrote Raghuvamsha, which was putting the entire Ramayana into 5 cantos, but his 18 cantos had many other things. And therefore later on, people said there need not be just one hero, there can be series of heroes. And in the Jaina Puranas, it is not just one life. Ekavamsha bhava bhupaha kulaja bhavopiva. That was the definition. redefined by Vishwanatha. But in the Jaina Puranas, it is not just one life, it is Bhavavali. Many lives are being described. Thus, we have not just a variety, there is a difference in the viewpoint, the worldview, the changes that take place, and also the kind of rasa that it gives. So, friends, I hear time and again what Radhakrishnan wrote. It is one literature in many languages.
Thank
But
you,
I should
thank you,
also
Professor
say
Murthy.
it is many literatures
We are
in
blessed
each
by you.
language as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is an announcement. If Sri Lanka's delegate is present here, please come off the dais. Somebody wants to contact him. So any delegate from Sri Lanka is sitting here? No. So the next speaker of this session is Molly Kaushal. Molly Kaushal is Professor of Performance Studies and currently the Mission Director of National Mission on Cultural Mapping. She has 10 publications to her credit. She has translated into English the Mevati, Bhili and Bundeli Ramkathas. She has curated some much acclaimed thematic exhibitions, and she has also directed and scripted several documentary films. I most humbly invite you, ma'am, for your address.
I have what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
Yes, 12 minutes.
12 minutes, okay. ये किसी का, it's yours? Okay. So सबको नमस्कार. मैं जब सोच रही थी इस सेशन के बारे में और महाकाव्यों के बारे में, तो मैं कुछ और बोलना चाह रही थी. शायद हो सकता है कि मैं उसकी तरफ आऊं वो थोड़ा, पर क्योंकि समा बन जाता है, एक तरह से विषय भी जो है वो कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा होता है कि आपसे पहले जो स्पीकर्स, आपके चेयरपर्सन जो बोल के जाते हैं, तो आपकी थॉट प्रोसेस फिर उधर को चलने लगती है और आप सोचते हैं कि शायद आपको थोड़ा सा अपनी सोची हुई उसके के अलावा शायद कहीं और की तरफ देखना पड़ेगा. पर आपने मूर्ति जी मेरा काम थोड़ा आसान कर दिया, और मैं ये कहूँगी आसान इसलिए कर दिया कि मैं तो कोई संस्कृत की विद्वान नहीं हूँ और मैंने सोचा कि अब मैं महाकाव्य को तो बहुत दूसरी तरह से देखती हूँ, तो अब मैं ये पूरे संस्कृत वाले माहौल में एक्चुअली क्या बोलूँगी. तो मैंने सोचा कि मैं एक्सक्यूज़ कर लूँगी अपने आप को कि सॉरी, मतलब मेरा विषय कुछ दूसरा है. पर ये तो एक तरह इसको मैं छोड़ती हूँ. पर जो दोनों मुझसे पहले चेयरपर्सन जी ने और मूर्ति जी ने जो सवाल उठाए, वो मुझे लगता है कि बहुत अहम है, और वो अहम इसलिए भी हो जाते हैं कि जब हम भारत की बात करते हैं और हम महाकाव्य की बात करते हैं, तो हम कहीं ना कहीं आके रामायण और महाभारत पे अटक जाते हैं. और शायद कुछ हद तक वो जायज़ भी है, और क्योंकि जिस तरह की जो इन्फ्लुएंसेस हैं, चाहे हम लोक की तरफ भी अगर देखते हैं और हम ट्राइबल नैरेटिव्स की तरफ भी देखते हैं, और कई बार हम हिचकिचाते हैं उन्हें महाकाव्य कहने से और कुछ और कहना चाहते, पर महाकाव्य तो लोक में भी है और महाकाव्य आदिवासी समाज में भी है, और महाकाव्य बनने की ऐतिहासिक प्रोसेसेस क्या होती हैं वो भी एक अलग क्वेश्चन है, तो उसमें मैं जाना नहीं चाहूँगी. पर महाभारत और रामायण पे चूंकि मेरा काम है, और मेरा काम अधिकतर वाचिक और मौखिक परंपरा से रहा है और लोक से रहा है, तो मेरा एक बहुत ही विद्वजनों से एक ये सवाल है कि काव्य तो चलिए रच दिया गया, पर वो काव्य जिंदा कैसे रहा? उस काव्य को महाकाव्य कैसे बनाया गया? क्या ये सिर्फ भाषा की संरचना की बात थी? ये सिर्फ उन मूल्यों की बात थी जो उसमें हो रहे थे? हाँ. और अगर आपकी माता ने आपके बचपन में आपको राम के नाम से न बुलाया होता, मैं तो कृष्ण के नाम से न बुलाया होता, तो क्या ये महाकाव्य बन पाते? तो कौन सी है वो जो परंपरा जो इन काव्यों, इन रचनाओं को काव्य और महाकाव्य तक ले जाती है और फिर कालजयी बना देती है? वो सिर्फ ग्रंथ की बात नहीं है, और वो एक ग्रंथ की बात नहीं है। आपने शिलापतिकारम में बात की उस रास की, जिस महारास की बाद में जाके कहीं पे वृंदावन में चर्चा होती है। तो कहां से आ रही है ये स्मृति? किसने उसको संजो के रखा? ग्रंथों तक वो कौन ले गया उसको? तो ये परंपरा तो बहुत पहले से चली आ रही है, और उसके संवाहक तो लोग हैं, जन हैं। फिर आप उनको ऋषि समझिए, उनको मुनि समझिए, या उसको एक तारा बजाने वाला कोई गायक समझिए। तो मुझे लगता है कि ये समझने की बहुत बड़ी जरूरत है। अब जब ये वाचिक परंपरा में आती है तो ये पूरे भारतवर्ष के भूगोल को क्या करती है? ये जिसको हम कहते हैं कि ये महाकाव्य हैं, ये रचना जब वाचिक परंपरा से भारत के भूगोल पे छाती है तो वो आपको क्या देती है? वो आपके गांव को अयोध्या बनाती है, वो आपको सीता का पिता बनाती है, वो आपको राम का मामा बनाती है। और पूरी की पूरी जो हमारा भूगोल है वो एक सेक्रेट ज्योग्राफी के नाम से। इसीलिए आपका वृंदावन जिंदा रहता है, इसीलिए आपकी अयोध्या जो है उसमें आज भी रामलला के गीत गूंजते हैं, इसीलिए जो है मदुराई बनती है, और इसीलिए आप जाके फिलाडेल्फिया में फिर से एक नए वृंदावन को बनाते हैं। तो ये पूरा जो एक भौगोलिक विस्तार है, उसके अंदर फिर अनुष्ठान है, उसके अंदर फिर त्योहार हैं, उसके अंदर फिर सोहर के गीत हैं, उसमें शादी के गीत है। और भारत में हर बच्चा पैदा होने वाला जो है वो या तो कृष्ण है, या राधा है, या राम है, या जो दूसरी जातियों के अपने नाम हैं, उन नामों से अपने नायकों के, नायिकाओं के नामों के बच्चे जन्म लेते हैं। तो ये है वो जो इसको महाकाव्य बनाता है, जो इसको कालजयी बनाता है। ऐसा क्यों होता है कि आपकी महाभारत की पूरी परंपरा वाचिक परंपरा में लुप्त हो जाती है? आप नॉर्थ में अगर देखते हैं, साउथ में उसकी दूसरी बात हो रही है। नॉर्थ में आप कहते हैं कि महाभारत को तो रखे मत आप, ये पुस्तक जो है वो तो शुभ नहीं है, घर में नहीं रखना है, पूरी की पूरी नहीं पढ़नी है। और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये किस लिए हुआ होगा? वो कौन सी परंपरा ऐसी उत्तर भारत में उभर के आती है? क्योंकि जब मैं महाभारत पे काम कर रही थी तो मैंने कहा महाभारत के अंदर तो परंपरा है कथा वाचन की, वो जय से महाभारत बनती ही नहीं अगर उसमें, वो तो उसके अंदर निहित है। तो फिर वो परंपरा लुप्त कहां हुई, कहां चली गई? तो उस वक्त जब महाभारत पीछे हटने लगती है तो कोई दूसरा ग्रंथ है जो उभरने लगता है। और वो मैं फिर कहूंगी कि हमारे यहाँ पर दक्षिण से जो चल के आया है उत्तर भारत में, उसी ने वो नींव रखी जहां पे कि रामचरितमानस और भागवत घर घर में गूंजने लगे। वो थी भक्ति की परंपरा। अगर रामानंद नहीं आते बनारस तो मैं नहीं जानती कि राम की धारा का क्या होता। अगर हमारे यहाँ पर चैतन्य नहीं उठ के आते बंगाल से तो मैं नहीं जानती कि हमारी कृष्ण की परंपरा का क्या होता। और उस परंपरा को जीवित रखती है, मैं आखिरी बात ये कह रही हूं, मौखिक वाचिक लोक परंपरा। आदिवासियों ने भी उसको अपनाया। उसमें क्योंकि 12 मिनट में सब बातें हो नहीं सकती हैं तो मैं नहीं जाऊंगी उसमें, पर मैं जो आपने बात शुरू की, मेरे पास 2-3 मिनट और हैं शायद। ठीक है। तो आपने बहुत अच्छी बात से शुरुआत की कि बात जो है वो कैटेगरीज की भी है, और अगर जहां पर आप महाकाव्य को एक तो प्रॉब्लम हुई कि आपने एपिक कहा और फिर आपने महाकाव्य कहा, फिर आपने कहा कि क्योंकि हमने अपने महाकाव्य की अवधारणा एपिक से ली है तो हमने सिर्फ दो चीजें उसमें ढूंढी कि वो प्रेमाख्यान है कि वो युद्धाख्यान है। महाकाव्य तो उससे बहुत गहरे जाते हैं, ये कोई होमर तक सीमित नहीं रहता है, आप वेस्टर्न कैटेगरीज ही नहीं लेते। और कपिल जी बैठे हुए हैं जो इसके बारे में मुझसे कहीं अच्छा कहीं गहराई से बता सकते हैं। और एक ये जर्नी जो मैंने पूरी बिताई है उसमें कपिल जी का कितना बड़ा हाथ रहा, इसमें तुलसी जी बैठे हैं, शिव प्रकाश, और हमने बहुत सारी गोष्ठियां इंदिरा गांधी राष्ट्रीय कला केंद्र में भी की और साहित्य अकादमी में ये जो मौखिक महाकाव्य मौखिक उसके ऊपर पिछले 5-6 साल से जो गोष्ठियां होने लगी उसमें हम लोग लगभग साथ ही रहे। और ये सवाल बार बार हर गोष्ठी में उठता है कि ये कैटेगरीज क्या हैं। हम महाकाव्य को एपिक समझते हैं, फिर हम उस महाकाव्य की को एक, क्योंकि वो एक ग्रंथ है, वो एक लिखित रचना के रूप में हम उसको ले लेते हैं, उसको एक क्लासिकल उसके लिए ले लेते हैं। तो हम जितनी भी परंपरा है वाचिक मौखिक परंपरा उसके ऊपर ये लिटरेरी कैनन्स को जड़ देते हैं कि वो प्रबंध काव्य होना चाहिए, उसके इतने खंड होने चाहिए, उसका ये उसकी भाषा ये होनी चाहिए। पर जो जननी है इस भाषा की और जो पोषक है इस भाषा की और वो जो गाती है इस भाषा को, वो इन सब से मुक्त है। और अगर वो मुक्त नहीं होती तो फिर महाकाव्य बंद रख दिया गया। क्यों वाल्मीकि को जरूरत पड़ गई कि कंपोज करने के बाद वो लव और कुश को कहते हैं कि जाओ गली गली घूमो और गली गली गाओ। नारद भी पहले ही आके वाल्मीकि को बता जाते हैं कि ऐसा चरित्र है जिसके बारे में प्रजा में लोगों के बीच में बहुत चर्चा रहती है। तो चर्चा गीत की भी हो सकती के माध्यम से भी हो सकती थी, वार्तालाप के माध्यम से भी और कथा के माध्यम से भी। तो ये जो परंपरा है यही परंपरा हमको जिंदा रखती है और इसी परंपरा को हमें मुक्त करना पड़ेगा सभी तरह के अपने बायसेस और अवधारणाओं से। इसी भाषा में मैं एक इशारा करती हूं कि ये है किसका महाकाव्य। थैंक यू। लास्ट ही है मेरा लास्ट लाइन जो है मैं बोलना चाहती हूं, फिर मैं छोड़ दूंगी कि ये काव्य किसका है। ये क्या हिंदुओं का काव्य है, ब्राह्मणों का काव्य है, कायस्थों का काव्य है, किसका काव्य, क्षत्रियों का काव्य है, किसका काव्य है। मैं आपको केरला का एक उदाहरण देती हूं और बात अपनी खत्म करती हूं जिसमें वो कहते हैं कि यजीद के गंदे हाथ रावण की तरह फातिमा की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं, मुझे कौन बचा सकता है सिवाय हनुमान के। तो इसके साथ मैं रखती हूं और आप सोचिए कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं अपनी संस्कृति अपने काव्यों के साथ। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, Molly Kaushal ji. Our next speaker is नरेंद्र बी पाठक। नरेंद्र बी पाठक मराठी में लिखते हैं। आप पिछले 22 वर्षों से एक मराठी पत्रिका वासंतिक के संपादक और प्रकाशक हैं। आपको सूचना और प्रसारण मंत्रालय भारत सरकार द्वारा भारतीय फिल्म और टेलीविजन संस्थान के गवर्निंग काउंसिल के सदस्य के रूप में नामित किया गया था। आप प्रतिभा संगम के संस्थापक सदस्य हैं। यह संस्थान महाराष्ट्र में अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद द्वारा कॉलेज विद्यार्थियों के लिए कार्यशाला का आयोजन करता है। आप शिक्षकों के लिए राष्ट्रीय पुरस्कार 2015, यशवंत स्मृति अक्षर गौरव पुरस्कार, ठाणे नगर निगम द्वारा ठाणे गौरव और ठाणे भूषण पुरस्कार से पुरस्कृत हैं। बहुत ही आदर के साथ आपको आमंत्रित करती हूँ।
मंच पर उपस्थित संस्कृत के प्रकांड पंडित, सभागार में उपस्थित साहित्य ऋषि और देवी सज्जनों, एक आधा घंटे से मंच पर बैठा हूं और मुझे थोड़ा ऑड मैन आउट ऐसा लग रहा है। मैं संस्कृत का अभ्यासक भी नहीं हूं और जो संस्कृत का अभ्यासन करते हैं वो सुसंस्कृत भी होते हैं, स्वाभाविक रूप से उनका अधिकार भी रहता है। न मैं संस्कृत का अभ्यासक हूं और मैं न खुद को सुसंस्कृत है ऐसा मानता हूं। मैं कॉमर्स का स्टूडेंट हूं और उसके साथ साथ थोड़ा अगर कुछ लिखने का प्रयास किया है वो सामाजिक बिंदु और शैक्षणिक बिंदु से लेकर मराठी में थोड़ा बहुत काम किया है। एपिक्स और महाकाव्य, इसकी डेफिनेशन में मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, विद्वानों का काम है। लेकिन जो विषय है रामायण और महाभारत, ये दोनों महाकाव्य को सामाजिक और साहित्यिक रूप से इनका सामाजिक और साहित्यिक प्रभाव क्या है, इस दृष्टि से मैं थोड़ा सा आपके साथ चिंतन करूंगा। जब हम सृष्टि पे आते हैं, पैदा होते हैं, तो हमें एक पिंड रहता है, बीज रहता है और बीज के ऊपर संस्कार होते होते ये व्यक्तित्व तैयार होता है। तो हमारा जो जन्मजात पिंड रहता है, ये पिंड का जो पोषण होता है, ये पोषण रामायण और महाभारत जैसे महाकाव्य ने किया और इसीलिए सालों साल एक संस्कारित समाज आज हम देख रहे हैं। रामायण और महाभारत की ये ताकत है कि मनुष्य का पिंड का वो पोषण करता है, पूरा उसका भरण पोषण करता है, उसको एक विचार देता है। रामायण का अगर विचार करेंगे तो रामचरित्र और कृष्ण चरित्र में राम खुद को सामान्य मनुष्य का मानता है। राम ने कभी दावा नहीं किया कि मैं दैव हूं। राम हमेशा कहता है मैं सामान्य हूं, लेकिन उसने जो काम किया है वो असामान्य देवत्व का काम किया है। कृष्ण जो है, कृष्ण खुद को भगवान मानते हैं और उन्होंने जो काम करने के लिए सामान्य लोगों को प्रेरणा दी है वो सामान्य व्यक्ति का विचार करके दी है। तो ये महाकाव्य में एक बहुत ऐसा संयोग है, राम सामान्य होकर असामान्य देवत्व का प्रवास करते हैं और कृष्ण देवत्व होने के बाद सामान्य व्यक्ति के लिए काम करते हैं। यह भी बहुत अच्छा एक संयोग है। राम एक आदर्शवाद, आइडियोलॉजी का मॉडल है। जब हम आज के युवाओं के साथ बात करते हैं तो वो स्वाभाविक रूप से कहते हैं ये आदर्शवाद है, आज के जमाने में नहीं चलेगा। एकदम सही है। तो आज के जमाने में कौन सा आएगा? स्वाभाविक रूप से दूसरा जो अवतार हम कहते हैं कृष्ण, प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच, व्यवहार। तो राम और कृष्ण इन दोनों ने भी हमारे इस समाज के लिए आदर्शवाद का भी उदाहरण दिया है और आदर्शवाद के साथ साथ परिस्थितियां देखकर प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच जो है वो भी उन लोगों ने समाज के सामने रखा है। मुझे दो प्रसंग याद आ रहे हैं। ये रामायण और महाभारत दोनों काव्य का समाज के ऊपर जो प्रभाव है। 1987 में टीवी पे, दूरदर्शन पे रामायण दिखाए गए थे। और उस समय तो इतने चैनल बिनल नहीं थे, तो सुबह 9 बजे हर एक रविवार के पूरे भारत भर में रास्ते सन्नाटा हो जाते थे और सब लोग, और लोगों के घर टीवी भी नहीं थे, वो चाली में, घर में, ठेले में, दुकान में, कहीं भी खड़े होके 1 घंटा रामायण देखते थे। पूरा रास्ता सन्नाटा होता था और कुछ भाविक तो टीवी को हार भी डाल के रामायण आरती भी करते थे। ये 1987 का राम चरित्र का समाज के ऊपर प्रभाव। आज हम अभी 2023 में हैं। 1 साल 1.5 साल पहले हम कोरोना में थे। लॉकडाउन में भी दूरदर्शन ने रामायण महाभारत मालिका दिखाई। 2-3 जनरेशन चली गई, लेकिन रामायण महाभारत का प्रभाव आज भी 20 और 21 में वही प्रभाव है। लॉकडाउन के समय आज की युवा पीढ़ी भी ये रामायण और महाभारत का उसी प्रकार से आस्वाद ले रही जो हम 1987-88 में रहे थे। तो पीढ़ी के बाद दूसरी पीढ़ी के बाद तीसरी पीढ़ी, ये आज हमारे भारत के हर एक व्यक्ति के ऊपर रामायण का और महाकाव्य का एक प्रभाव है। दूसरा एक मुझे अब भी का एक उदाहरण है। रामायण ने हम सबको एक आस्था, श्रद्धा, विश्वास, संस्कृति, शौर्य, पराक्रम, इसकी सीख दी है और हम इसके कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करते, कोई भी हो। एक 2-3 महीना पहले हिंदी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में एक बड़ी फिल्म आई, मेगा फिल्म। उसका मार्केटिंग भी बहुत मेगा फिल्म हुआ और वो फिल्म में रामायण अलग रूप से दिखाने का प्रयास प्रोड्यूसर और दिग्दर्शक ने किया है। मैं उसका मार्केटिंग और जो फिल्म है उसके ऊपर मैं कोई समीक्षा करना नहीं चाहता, वो तो अभिव्यक्ति का अधिकार है। लेकिन सोशल मीडिया में जब वो फिल्म रिलीज होने के बाद सोशल मीडिया में जो एक कमेंट्स आने लगे, कंट्रोवर्शियल्स आने लगे, फिल्म मेगा है लेकिन उन्होंने जो पिक्चराइजेशन किए कि हमारे मन में राम इस प्रकार का है, हमारे मन में हनुमान जी इस प्रकार के हैं, इसके ऊपर आज के कोई भी लोग कॉम्प्रोमाइज करना नहीं चाहते। उसी प्रकार वो फिल्म के जो संवाद लेखक है, वो संवाद लेखक ने जो संवाद लिखे, वो संवाद और उनका जो संभाषण है, वो राम और रावण रहेगा, हनुमान जी और रावण रहेंगे, और हनुमान जो भी संवाद है वो संवाद की भाषा और संवाद का भाव आज के कोई भी जमाने के आज के लोगों ने स्वीकार नहीं किया। क्यों नहीं स्वीकार किया? प्रोड्यूसर और निर्माता जो है उनको ऐसा लगा कि हम मॉडर्नाइजेशन के जमाने से ये स्क्रिप्ट बनाएंगे, लेकिन महाकाव्य ये महाकाव्य है, उसमें कोई भी मिलावट आज हमारा समाज सहन नहीं कर सकता। और ये ताकत है, ये जो महाकाव्य लिखे गए उन लोगों की ताकत है। स्वाभाविक रूप से श्रेय जाता है वाल्मीकि जी, वेदव्यास। तो इनको हम महाकाव्य क्यों कहते हैं? और महाकाव्य आज समाज में आज भी इतने साल के बाद क्यों स्वीकार्य है? छोटी छोटी चीजें मैं देता हूं, एकदम छोटी चीजें। ये रामायण महाभारत हमें क्या सिखाता है? छोटा बच्चा भी रहेगा, आज भी हर एक घर में, मुझे नात नाती है, रोज आते, अबा गोष्ट कौन सी? रामायण, हनुमान जी। तो ये छोटे बच्चों का भी प्रभाव है। उसका कारण है व्हाट द महाकाव्य टीचेस अस, व्हाट इज गुड, व्हाट इज बैड, वेयर टू स्टैंड, हाउ टू लिव, व्हाट इज राइट एंड व्हाट इज रॉन्ग, और उसके साथ साथ रिलेशनशिप्स, रिलेशनशिप्स विद ड्यूटीज एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज। छोटी छोटी कथाएं, मातृ कर्तव्य, पितृ कर्तव्य, बंधु कर्तव्य, राज्य का जो राजा है उसका समाज के प्रति कर्तव्य, मैंने कहा कि सामान्य राम है, लेकिन काम जो हुआ वो देवत्व का है। एक उदाहरण है जो अभी मैंने कहा, राजा का कर्तव्य। लोगों ने आक्षेप लेने के बाद सीता माई को उन्होंने वनवास भेज दिया, त्याग कर दिया। भाई बहनों, ये इतना आसान नहीं। एक प्रिय पत्नी, पहले ही उसके ऊपर अन्याय, 14 साल वनवास, कोई राज जो सौभाग्य था वो भी उनको मिला नहीं, लेकिन लोगों ने आक्षेप लिया सीता माई को। किसी अपने प्रिय व्यक्ति को त्याग करना ये सामान्य व्यक्ति का काम ही नहीं है, उसके लिए वो देवत्व का ही अंश राम में है। एक उदाहरण है। और रामचरित्र के बाद, रामायण के बाद हम महाभारत के तरफ जब आ जाते हैं तो ऐसा लगता है कि ये महाभारत की जरूरत क्या है। राम राज्य के समय समाज के मूल्य बहुत घट्ट थे, रूट्स स्ट्रांग थे, और लोगों को खाली आदर्शवाद ही मालूम था, और राम को समाज के प्रति, राज्य के प्रति आदर्श राज्य व्यवस्था और आदर्शवाद। लेकिन बाद में जटिल प्रश्न होते गए, समाज के रूट्स ढीले होते गए, और स्वाभाविक रूप से ये आदर्शवाद जो राम का है, ये पेलने की ताकत व्यवस्था में नहीं रही। मतलब आदर्शवाद अच्छा है, लेकिन ये आदर्शवाद पेलने की जो ताकत है वो सिस्टम में नहीं रही। फिर उसके लिए प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच और महाभारत आ गए। और श्री कृष्ण जी जो है, श्री कृष्ण जी ने पूरे जो उनका चरित्र है, जिसे हम एक प्रकार का पूर्ण पुरुष, भगवान कृष्ण को हम पूर्ण पुरुष कहते हैं, क्योंकि उन्होंने जिस प्रकार से विविध समस्याएं उठाई और लोगों के सामने आदर्श रखे। एक छोटा सा उदाहरण देके मैं मेरा वक्तव्य खत्म करूंगा। एक 30 सेकंड मेरे हाथ में है, बोलने जैसा तो बहुत कुछ है, सामाजिक संदर्भ है, साहित्य संदर्भ है, लेकिन एक मिनट में मैं खत्म करूंगा। कृष्ण ने सामाजिक मूल्य कैसे रखे, एक उदाहरण है पर्यावरण के बारे में। एज पर माय नॉलेज, भगवान कृष्ण वॉज द फर्स्ट एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट। पर्यावरण का तज्ञ जो है वो भगवान कृष्ण सबसे पहले है। उन्होंने कहा इंद्र की पूजा बंद करो, गोवर्धन की पूजा करो, और इतना कहने के बाद गांव के लोगों ने माना। ये इंपॉर्टेंट है। कोई प्रथा परंपरा को तोड़ना इतना आसान नहीं है। लोग मानते नहीं है कि दीज आर अवर ट्रेडिशंस, लेकिन कृष्ण ने कहा। क्यों? उसका कारण है कि ये गोवर्धन पर्वत आपको वनस्पति देता है, लकड़ी देता है, संरक्षण करता है, बारिश भी गोवर्धन पर्वत दे रहा है। तो इस प्रकार का गांव के लोगों में एक अवेयरनेस तैयार करना, लोगों को एक नया विश्वास देना। और बाद में आपने वो चित्र देखा है, गोवर्धन पर्वत सब लोग काठी लगा के खड़े हैं और कृष्ण जी खाली अंगुली लगा के। छोटे बच्चे पूछते, इतना अंगुली से कभी गोवर्धन पर्वत उठाते हैं क्या? प्रश्न एकदम स्वाभाविक है, लेकिन उसके पीछे जो लॉजिक है, जब मैं वो चित्र देखता हूं तो वो चित्र इस प्रकार का संकेत देता है। ये गोवर्धन पर्वत के माध्यम से ये जो उन्होंने इंद्र पूजा बंद की और गोवर्धन की पूजा की, गांव के लोगों को साथ में लाया। दैट इज द पावर ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। कि अगर समस्या का हल करना है तो आपको साथ में संगठित होना पड़ेगा। आप सब लोग साथ में आ सकते हैं, और आप सब साथ में है, मैं भी आपका प्रतिनिधित्व कर रहा हूं। लोग पहले भी थे, कृष्ण के बाद भी लोग थे, लेकिन ये विचार किसी ने नहीं किया, इसलिए वो अंगुली का निर्देश वहां पे किया है। ऐसे बहुत सारे उदाहरण हैं, मैं सभी उदाहरण देता नहीं हूं, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि रामायण और महाभारत, ये जो महाकाव्य है, इसका जो आज लोगों के मन में प्रभाव है, इसका बेसिक थॉट जो है, बेसिक कि वाल्मीकि व्यास और कृष्ण, वाल्मीकि व्यास और वाल्मीकि और वेद व्यास, इन दोनों ने जो रचना की, तो रचना करते समय, यहां पे साहित्यकार है, मैं तो बड़ा साहित्यकार नहीं हूं, लेकिन साहित्य का निर्माण करते समय दृष्टि क्या होनी चाहिए? जैसे व्यक्ति का एक मन रहता है, वैसे समाज का एक मन रहता है। अगर आप समाज का मन सामने रखकर कुछ रचना करेंगे तो वो सालों साल महाकाव्य बनती है। रामायण और महाकाव्य जो ये है महाभारत, इसमें समाज मन है। जो बीज है वो बीज इस प्रकार का है कि जिसमें सभी समस्या का हल किया है, और बच्चों से लेके वृद्ध तक। और मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि महाकाव्य कौन सा होता है, तो महा मतलब बड़ा, महाप्रदेश, खाली भारत नहीं, पूरे विश्व की जितनी भी समस्या है उसका हल महाभारत में है, रामायण में मिल सकता है। दैट इज द सॉल्यूशन गिवन। सो दिस टू महाकाव्य जो है, एपिक्स है, आई फील दैट दीज आर द रेडी रेकनर एंड दीज आर द ऑक्सीजन्स फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू सो मच सर। एक सूचना है आप सभी के लिए कि समापन सत्र गौरांजनी सभागार में सायं 6 बजे से आयोजित होगा। आप सभी उसमें उपस्थित हों। With this, now I would like to call upon our next eminent speaker, Rani Sadashiv Murthy. He is a noted poet, playwright, author, and classical ballet writer. He has authored 40 books and edited 10. Electronic text of the Mahabharata of Ved Vyas with hyperlink of 1,10,000 shlokas, an editor for the Mahabharata text in print mode for 10,000 pages in 20 volumes in Telugu script are some of the unique works of Professor Murthy. He delivered more than 300 discourses in various TV channels. Presently, he is the acting Vice Chancellor of Sri Venkateshwara Vedic University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh. I humbly invite you, sir, for your address.
अंतराय तिमिरोपशान्तये शान्तपावनमचिन्त्य वैभवं तं नरं वपुषि कुञ्जरं मुखे मन्महे किमपि तुन्दिलं महः। मान्यमान्येभ्यः एतस्याः सभायाः अध्यक्षवर्येभ्यः श्रीमद्भ्यः हरे कृष्ण शतपति महाभागेभ्यः तथैव अस्माकम् अस्यां सभायां भासमानेभ्यः सहवक्तृभ्यः एवमेव अत्र सभायां विराजमानेभ्यः विद्वत्प्रवरेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः अपि सविनय प्रणामाः। अत्र विद्यमानः अंशः भारत के महाकाव्य, आंग्लभाषायां एपिक्स ऑफ इंडिया। Now a honeybee is there that goes from creeper to creeper and collects honey from every flower. Similarly, my material is collected from my previous speakers. So, I would like to say something. I have come here with a different agenda and now I am going to present something else. Hare Krishna Samo Vagmi Nabhuto Nabhavishyati. He is such a great speaker. But because of the time constraint, he confined to say a few words about the models of all other Indian writings, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata. It doesn't mean that he is confined to only those two. He can speak on any work in any of the Indian languages. That is his might. Similarly, Srinivasa Murthy garu has presented a wonderful thing. Of course, I am not here to sum up whatever was spoken by our co-speakers. But here I would like to say a few words about Adi Kavi Chaturasyav Kamalaja Valmikajau Vande lokashloka vidhatroh yayorbhida leshamatrena. Every one of us might have studied Sanskrit as one of the subjects at intermediate level or 10th level or 7th class level like this. Here we know that being different from all other languages, in Sanskrit there is another number, that is dual number. Vivachanam is there. So accordingly, if Adikavi should be there, there should be only one Adikavi. But here in this shloka, the poet is introducing two Adikavis. Adikavi, Kavihi, Kavi, Kavayaha. Adikavi, two Kavis, two poets are there. Chaturasyav, they have, Asyam means face. Chaturasyav, both are Chaturasyav. Two Adikavis, first poets, two first poets were there, and they have two faces. That is, and Chaturasyav, Kamalaja Valmikajav, one sprang from the lotus and the other one from the anthill. Lokashloka vidhatroho, one of them created loka, the other one has created shloka. Yayorbhida leshamatrena. The difference between those two is one lakara shakara matra vedaha, loka and shloka. This is the difference. Then Adi Kavi, Kavihi is the creator, Kavihi is the poet. When in the sense of poet, if you have to take one who sprang from the anthill, that is Valmiki, and the one who sprang from Kamala, that is Kamalaja, that is Brahma. He created the world, so he is the creator of the world, he is the creator of the Kavya. Both are two different worlds also. Chaturasya, Chatvari Ananani Yasya Saha Chaturasya, who has four heads, four faces. He is Brahma. And the other one is the one who Chaturam Asyam Yasya Saha, who is skillful in describing, skillful in depicting. So such poet he was, Valmiki. That's why these two are Adi Kavi. Particularly Adi Shabda in Telugu is a model. When I want to get a shirt is stitched for me, I give a model for him. Basing on this model, you please stitch a shirt for me. That also is Adi. So this Adi Kavi means the model poet for all later generations. So in this manner, this shows us what a poet should be. Poet should be another creator of a wonderful world, which pleases all the generations. So, as mentioned by Srinivasa Murthy Garu and others also, if we keenly observe, one thing is there. Entire Indian ancient literature of all languages is much indebted to Sanskrit in taking the different kinds of models or varieties. In Sanskrit, when we speak about poetry, kavyas particularly, there is a classification. We must contemplate upon that. That according to that classification, Smritis, Puranas, Itihasas, then comes Kavya literature. In between Shastras also are there. Smriti, Smriti, Purana, Shastra, Itihasa and Kavya. When we come to Kavyas, these are Gadya, Padya and Champu. These are the three types. And in Gadya, Akhyayika and Katha are there. Parikatha, Sakalakatha and all other models also are there in prose Kavyas. Even prose also is a Kavya. So that's why in prose these kinds of variety are there. And particularly in Padya, there are two major differences, Mahakavya and Khandakavya. So that Mahakavya is known as epic poetry in our translations. That's why this Mahakavya, after that Khandakavya, Sandeshakavyas, all kinds of Sandeshakavyas basing on Meghaduta of Kalidasa, they are known as Sandeshakavyas. And after that Muktaka, Divika, Trika, Sandanitaka, Kalapaka, Kulaka, Kosha, Taravali, Bhogavali, Birudavali, even Nritya. In this manner, there are a number of varieties of poetry. Even in Chempu Kavyas, we have a variety. So, concentrating on Mahakavya, now the story of this Sabha is going on. So, why actually the Ramayana and Mahabharata belong to the Itihasa category. Still, they are called Kavyas because all the rhetoricians or Lakshanikas of Sanskrit poetry, they took Ramayana and Mahabharata from poetry point of view. Having taken from poetry point of view, what they have done is, they tried to find rasa, they tried to find the alankaras, they tried to find a theme, all this, a thematic analysis, rasa analysis, alankara analysis, all these have been taken by them from the Ramayana and Mahabharata also. As a result, what had happened? So, in the Ramayana, we know that generally in the field of Kavyas, Sringara, Hasya, Karuna, Raudra, Veera, Bhayanaka, Bhivatsa, Adbhutaha, 8 rasas are being considered. But Anandavardhana advanced a new theory that Mahabharata also is a Kavya. There the rasa is Shanta rasa, Shantopi Navamo rasaha. So even before this Anandavardhana, Shanta was considered as Navama rasa. So this Shanta rasa is the Prakriti rasa, and all rasas, other rasas are Vikriti rasas. A tabula rasa, a clean slate. On the clean slate, anything can be written. When the mind is clean and pure, that is Shanta rasa, rasa of tranquility. Then on that rasa, on that screen, we can create any kind of nonsense. So that is Sringara, Hasya, Karuna, Raudra, Veera, Bhayanaka, Bhivatsa, Adbhuta, etc. All these can be created on that. So for anything, the base is Prakriti. Vikritis are evolutes, Prakriti is the source. That was the gift given by Kapila Maharshi in his Sankhya Darshana. So accordingly, we have all this material. So here, according to genre, if you have to take, Mahakavya Lakshanas were given by Srinivasa Murthy Garu, Sargabandho Mahakavyam, Tatrayako Nayakasuraha, Sringara Veera, Shantanam Yakongi Rashishyati, all these are there. So I am not going to into details of these. 2 more points I would like to tell. And from that point of view, Kalidasa's Raghuvamsha and Kumarasambhava, Kiratarjuniya of Bharavi, and then Magha's Shishupala and Naishadha, all these come under Mahakavya category of poets. But another interesting aspect also was introduced by Srinivasa Murthy Garu, that is, whichever is great in conveying some sense or which can touch our hearts, all such things also come under Mahakavyas only. May it be a single shloka. For instance, if we take Matah Kim Yadunath Dehi Chashakam Kim Tena Patum Payah Tannastyadya Kadastiva Nishakava Andhakarodayah Amilyakshyugam Nishapyupagata Dehiti Maturmuhu Vakshojam Sukha Karshanodyatakarah Krishnasya Pushnatuvaha. Mataha, this is conversation between Krishna and his mother. Mataha, oh mother, he was addressing his mother. Kim Yadunatha, though he is just a 2 years old young boy, she was addressing him as the king of the Yadu race. Kim Yadunatha, Dehi Chashakam, give me just a glass. So, Kim Tena, if I give you, what would you like to do? Patum Payaha, I would like to drink milk, she said. Tannastyadya, it is not available now, she told, because from morning, it is around 12 o'clock, 12 noon, from morning to noon, he had drunk for more than 24 times. That's why, having seen his stomach, she told, Tannastyadya, she wanted to postpone. That's why, Tannastyadya, it is not available now. Then Kadastiva, Krishna doesn't leave. So when it will be available, please let me know, mother, he said. Nisi. She wanted to postpone to a long time. That's why she told Nisi during night. Nisa kava. What is the definition of Nisa? He asked. And then Andhakarodaya. When it gets dark everywhere, that is Nisha, she told. Amil Yakshiyugam. Immediately he closed his eyes. Nisha Pyupagata. It is dark everywhere. Dehiti Matur Muhu Vachojam Sukha Karshanodyatakaraha Krishnasya Pushnatuvaha. Who is pulling the upper garment of his mother to give him the glass, those beautiful hands of Krishna may protect you all. That was. When we listen to this, some chamatkara is born from our heart. This is great kavya. Similarly, yadi harismarane sarasam manaha, yadi vilasakala sukutuhalam, madhura komala kanta padavali, shrunutada jayadeva saraswati, shrunutada jayadeva saraswati. So, if you want to listen wonderful poetry, which is offered to the feet of Lord Hari, then you must go through the Gita Govinda Kavya of Jayadeva. Like this, everywhere such beauty is, wherever beauty is there, that is Mahakavya only. So now I would like to introduce, I would like to take a couple of minutes, and I would like to introduce about the Telugu also. Telugu is very much influenced by Sanskrit poetry. And even in Telugu, these Mahakavyas are known by name Prabandhas. There are every type of genre was taken from Sanskrit by Telugu, not only from Eastern, from Western sources also it has taken. Telugu poetry has taken a lot of inspiration and created and being created by many poets even now. But here, in the Telugu also, we have 5 Mahakavyas, particularly Manucharitra, Parijata Paharana, Panduranga Mahatmya, Manucharitra of Alasani Peddana, Nanditimmana's Parijata Paharanam, Tenali Ramakrishna's Panduranga Mahatmya, Pingal Surana's Kalapurnodaya, and Sri Krishna Devaraya's Amuktamalya. There are hundreds and hundreds of Prabandhas were there. Still these are given. Here I would like to give 2 examples and conclude. One is from Vasucharitra of Ramaraja Bhushana. His Mahakavya is full of music. That's why while entering, actually Telugu has such convenience. Do, mu, vulu are the suffixes in Telugu. They add this do, mu, vulu to the Sanskrit samasas and create Telugu poetry. And so this is Lalana Janapanga Valana Vasadananga Tulana Bhika Bhangado Prasanga Mu. That mu only is Telugu. Lalana Janapanga Valana Vasadananga Tulana Bhika Bhangado Prasanga Mu. Alasani Lavilola Dalasasa Varasala Falasadara Sukala Pana Vishalamu. Alini Garudani Kamalini Kirtadhuni Kamalini Sukhitako Kakulavadhu Kamu Atikanta Salatanta Latikanta Ranitanta Ratikanta Ranatanta Sutanukantamu Akrutaka Moda Kuravaka Vikala Vakula Mukula Sakala Vananta Pramoda Chalita Kalita Kalakanta Kulakanta Kakari Vipasuramupulsu Madhuma Savasarambu. Here that mu and bu only, the Telugu suffixes, the entire one is Sanskrit only. But exclusively in Telugu also, they have listed out beautifully all the types of vegetables and fruits. Those were available in those times. Chetla Potlakaya Sirisinganavanti Gudugudu Gunchalu Kundenagudi Dagili Bruchulatalu Getsakayalu Venela Kupalu Tannu Billa Turan Tunkalu Girana Ginzalu Pilla Dipalakanki Billa Godu Chuduguvala Poti Chendugattina Bodhi Alli Yuppana Battela Palalu Chikkana Billa Lotillu Chindaradi Aina Saisava Krida Viharini. Here he has enlisted all the types of games of those times. And then, now I will conclude. నేరేడు పండులు నెలయుట్టి పండులు గొండమామిడి పండ్లు దొండ పండ్లు బాల పండులు నెమ్మి పండులు బరివంక పండులు జిటిబుటి పండులు గరివి పండులు దొడవెంద పండులు దుమ్మికి పండ్లు జాన పండులు గంగరేగు పండ్లు వెలగ పండులు పుల్ల వెలగ పండులు మోవి పండ్లు సంకెన పండులు బులుసు పండులు బీర పండ్లును బిచ్చుక బీర పండ్లు గొమ్మి పండ్లీత పండ్లును గొంజి పండ్లు మేడి పండ్లును మొదలుగా గూడి మాడి చెంచతలు దెత్తురిత్తు విచ్చేయుమయ్యా. దట్ hunter, his name was Tinna. He says, I will bring all these types of fruit which you haven't ever heard in Sanskrit. Oh God, Shiva, you please come to my house. I will serve you all these fruits, he says. So, such things are greatly pregnated in all these Telugu Prabandhas also. So, this is a never-ending tradition in our country to have Mahakavyas. For all these, the source is Ramayana and Mahabharata, as mentioned by our other scholar. So, we always should respect Mahabharata and this Ramayana because they are the sources. Ramo nama babhuva hum tadabala siteti hum tau piturvacha panchavati vane nivasatah tamaharadravanaha. He was in cradle, Krishna. Yashoda was moving the cradle, and then she was narrating the story of Rama. Ramo nama babhuva. There was one by name Rama. Then immediately Krishna said, He was following. Ramo nama babhuva hum tadabala siteti. His wife is Sita. Again he said hum. Tamahar tau piturvacha pajjavati vane nivasatah. By the word of his father, those two were dwelling in Pajjavati region. Tamaharadravanaha. She was abducted by Ravana. Up to that, he was telling, Krishneneti puratanim nizakadham akarnya matreritam saumitre kvadhanur dhanur dharuriti proktagirappam tuvaha. So, Krishneneti puratanim nizakadham akarnya matreritam. That Krishna was listening to that extent, the story which was narrated by his mother, his own story, and immediately he stood up from the cradle. He held the chains of the cradle. Saumitre, hey Lakshmana. He forgot that he is Krishna. He went to Treta Yuga and he was addressing Lakshmana. Saumitre, kvadhanur dhanur dhanuriti proktagirappam tuvaha. Where is my bow? Where is my bow? Where is my bow? That brute Ravana has abducted her. So let me fight against him. So those were the words of Krishna. Even Krishna was inspired by Rama. What to speak about all of us. So, dhanyavada.
Okay. Friends, we have had the wonderful deliberations and thought-provoking presentations of 4 distinguished scholars. Nothing is left to me to speak something as concluding remarks, and moreover I have already taken 4 to 5 minutes time while giving my introductory presentation. So anyway, I will take only 4 to 5 minutes more. Friends, we have had Professor Murthy, Sadasiva Murthy and Kaushal and our Pathakji. So all of them are of the opinion that these 2 epics, Mahakavyas, although our Professor Srinivas Murthy has tried to make this canvas a wider one by incorporating other Mahakavyas, and there is no harm in it. But everybody agrees that these 2 Mahakavyas, written by 2 Swayambhu Kavis, as I mentioned in my introductory address, Kabir, Manishi, Paribhu, Swayambhu. So they are just like the eternal source of inspiration for the poets of subsequent ages. Just like Gangotri, Himalaya, from where all the rivers have flown. Friends, I would like to concentrate upon the theme based upon which the Mahakavyas during different ages have been written. As authors or poets or writers, we may not be aware of that theme, that underlying philosophy based upon which the Mahakavya has been written. Sometimes we know that, sometimes we do not know that. I would just quote two sentences from the Vedas. Ekangi sad vipra bahuda vadanti. This is an oft quoted sentence from Vedas. But the meaning of this sentence cannot be complete without other sentence. That is, ekoham bahusyam. Ekangi sad vipra bahuda vadanti. The such is, the truth is one. Eki sach hai. So the wise men present it in different ways. And while presenting in different ways, you see, it is not the work of the concerned wise man to present it in a different way. This is actually the grace of that truth which inspires the concerned author to present it in that manner. You are not doing anything. Everything is getting done by some absolute reality, some supreme reality of this universe that controls and regulates this entire universe. If you analyze the creation of Mahakavyas in age-wise, you see that what is that truth, absolute truth? That absolute truth is Jato Vaimani Bhutani Jayante, Jasmini Tishtanti, Jasmin Layam Gachanti, Tat Vijigyaswaswa, Tadeva Tat Brahma. That is the absolute reality. And that Brahma means it gets manifested in different manners from time to time. And if you analyze the exact manifestation or swarup of Param Brahma that controls this entire universe and that gets manifested in the writings, in the poems, in a subtle manner or in an, say, expressed manner. In Vedic age, in Satya Yuga, the Swarupa of Brahma was Rutam. It is Rutam, that cosmic ordinance that used to control the entire universe, including the poets, writers, authors, businessmen, everything. That is Rutam. And without Rutam, nothing we can conceive of. And that Rutam vadishyami, Satyam vadishyami, and based upon which the storehouse of knowledge, the Vedic literature was created. Rutam. In each and every sentence, you can find the underlying spirit of Rutam as the philosophy of that Kavya, as the central point, the nucleus point of that Mahakavya. And the purpose was, the Rutam purpose was that let there be peace everywhere. Shanti, 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 Do Shanti, Antarikya Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, everything should be peaceful. So that was the purpose for which the seers and savants of this country adopted Rutam as the underlying philosophy of their Mahakavya. I told that Veda is the Adima Mahakavya because the author of this Mahakavya is Ajoni Sambhuta, is a divinity personified, a divinity himself. So this is, and then in the next age, when you come to the age of Treta, era of Treta, then that Param Brahma, which got manifested as Rutam in Satya Yuga, got manifested as Satya. Rutam then Satyam. There is no difference between Rutam, Satyam, and two more words I will say. No, but one person, he appeared on the surface of the earth, is to use that philosophy as the underlying spirit of his kavya, that is Valmiki, and the entire Ramayana is based upon Satya. And Ramachandra is an embodiment of Satya. When Narada was asked by Valmiki, Konvasmin sampratam loke, jaha virjavan, jaha satyavan. So Narada refers to Ramachandra, vigrahavan satya. So पितृ सत्य पालन करने के लिए उन्होंने सब कुछ त्याग कर दिया. अच्छा, what was the purpose? Purpose was Maitri, just to establish friendship, establish relationship, not only with his own kith and kin, but also with Sugriva, with Hanuman, with Vibhishana, just to achieve his aim. And if you come to Mahabharata age, Treta Yuga, that Param Brahma which appeared as Rutam in Vedic age, and a Mahakavya was written based upon Rutam. And in Treta, which appeared as, it is not got converted, it is the same thing, only the change of the nomenclature. Rutam, Satyam, and then Dharma. Jatu Dharma Statu Jayaha. Krishna was Vigrahavan of Dharma. So Dharma, Jato Dharma, Jato Krishna, Tato Dharma. Jato Dharma, Tato Jayaha. So the entire Mahabharata is based upon Dharma and Satya and Dharma. So you see, Satya and Dharma are two important and very pertinent components of our Indian culture, based upon which this country exists. You take the example of judiciary, take the example of the administration and legislation of the country. The emblem says, Satyameva Jayate. And the judiciary emblem says, the apex quote of the emblem, Jato Dharmas Tato Jayaha. So Rutam, then Satyam, then Dharma. And madam, we should not forget that Mahabharatam is not Mahabharatam only as we perceive from its size. We should not forget that the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that has brought transformation in the entire world in a positive direction, is an integral part of Mahabharatam. And that Srimad Bhagavad Gita is now being studied, researched and worshipped in each and every place of this world. And just in the first session, we are discussing regarding the contribution of Bhagavad Gita to bring independence for our country. And then we come, our Srinivas Murthy has referred to other Mahakavyas. And while discussing the nomenclature of other Mahakavyas, then सर्वप्रथम हमारे सामने वो भागवत भी आता है. वो भागवत, then भागवत का क्या जो अंडरलाइंग स्पिरिट है, जो अंडरलाइंग फिलॉसफी है, ये क्या है? ये है भक्ति है. और ये जो भक्ति है, this has also another manifestation of that Param Brahma, which manifested as a Rutam, as a Satyam, as a Dharma, and then Bhakti. And Bhakti means, and this Dharma energized us, gave us Shakti. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, yes, inspires us to be Shaktiman, to be powerful. Yes, Nashtamoha smritir labdha tut prasadat mayachyuta sthitosmi gata sandeya karishya vachanam tava. Now, I would do my duties as per your advice. And Bhakti means, Bhakti also gives us Shakti. And Bhakti, underlying spirit, yes, underlying spirit is Bhakti. And all the Mahakavyas written, I think, to some extent, I am not telling that all the Mahakavyas have been written in a subsequent stage. If you take Veda as the first Mahakavya, then Ramayana, then Mahabharata and Bhagavata, where four important components of Indian culture and philosophy, Rutam, Satyam, Dharma and Bhakti have been reflected. Yes, I should say that most of the Mahakavyas have been influenced by these four Mahakavyas of this country. Bhagavata, yes, you see, whether you have incorporated some bhakti component or satya component or rutam component, that is immaterial. Satyam itself wants to be manifested in your writing. Ekoham bahusyam. मैं एक हूं, फिर भी मैं बहु होने के लिए इच्छा करता हूं. मैं जे न केनापि प्रकारेण, आपका राइटिंग में मैं अपने को परिप्रकाश कर दूंगा. यही है. आप knowingly or unknowingly, you are dealing upon these four eternal truths of the Indian culture in your writings, in our writings, in our Mahakavyas. So friends, that is the reason why Valmiki's Ramayana is immortal. Veda is immortal. Vyasadeva's Mahakavya Mahabharata is immortal. Bhagavata of Vasudeva is immortal. Kalidasa's Mahakavya is immortal. And Sriharsa's Mahakavya or Bharavi or Magha's Mahakavya, all are immortal. Javasthasyanti giraya saritascha mahitale tavat ramayani katha lokesu pracharisyati. As long as the mountains stand and the rivers flow on the surface of the earth, so long as this beautiful story of Ramayana will continue to influence the social, geographical, cultural and academic aspects and dimension of the mankind. And the same, as long as Srimad Bhagavad Gita is there, Vyasadeva is there. And as long as this Bhakti and Shakti, these two components are there, and all our Mahakavyas are relevant to the contemporary society. With these words, once again, I thank you all for your kind cooperation and for your patient hearing. And I am also expressing my gratitude to all the four distinguished scholars. I should say they all the four have highlighted these four components, Rutam, Satyam, Dharma and Bhakti in their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much everyone, and we'll break for lunch now.